Welcome to Cooking with Bae. I'm your host, Lindsay, also known as Animal Based Bae, and today we have something special, a pet edition. That's right. Oh, we have a pet edition. I am going to teach you how to make homemade raw pet food for your nice furry friends. In pet food supply stores, they oftentimes have tons of aisles full of dog food, which also unfortunately includes ingredients that are not an evolutionarily appropriate diet. So I experienced about a few years ago, I transitioned my dog Choxie to a more raw food diet. A few years ago, she had early onset kidney disease, so I'm going to tell you here in a few minutes of how I reversed that for her. However, I always thought that I was buying good brands, really seeking out grain-free brands that did have meat, but yet they still had some questionable ingredients in them. So my skepticism really led to really understanding the ingredients in our pet foods as well, too. So let's go ahead and dive into starting the process of making your own pet food. And it's very easy. You really don't need much, especially if you want to start them off raw. However, I will say my dog is 11 years old and she is 50 pounds. So being that she is a little bit older, her stomach acid isn't as strong as it used to be when she was younger. So I have started to lightly cook her food now, but I want to show you how I did it raw, and then we'll go into those details. What I'm going to do over the course of 2 days is I have 2 pounds of ground beef right here. And then I also have kidney for her that I will add about 1 ounce to 2 ounces of kidney. And then also the same thing for liver, about 1 ounce to 2 ounces of liver. Now, this is just one sort of version of a meal for her. I will also swap it out for different organs, or maybe add some, maybe heart, maybe spleen. I kind of like to include a variety of things. So this is just one meal. Then I also have here, actually, this is egg shells. So this is great for bones, calcium, and things like that. And then of course I will also include 2 eggs. So essentially just grab a pan and plop it in there. Just add your 2 pounds. This is ground beef. So this is $85.15. And because it was on sale, I can, again, some days there is some fat here in the bottom of the pan, which is nice. You can add a little bit of bacon grease. For 2 pounds of meat, I'm actually gonna add 4 ounces of liver. So that's about like 2 ounces a day, which is about accurate. So one of my favorite farms, North Star Bison, they have actually pet food. And so when I transitioned her into the raw diet, I started with them, and they have a really beautiful online resource where you can actually plug in numbers and see how much of each thing that you need for your specific, dog, the breed, the weight, and all of that. And so this is how I kind of came up with the right balance of food, is by leveraging their resource online. And I still purchase some of their dog food because I think it's amazing. I purchase it quite frequently. So I say about 50% of the time I'm making it, and then 50% of the time I'm buying it already pre-made. They have a really beautiful, well-balanced blend, and that is backed by veterinary support. So really awesome. And like I said, there's tons of resources on there. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and check them out to kind of get you started. Now I'm going to add about, so if it's 2 days, so about 2 to 3 ounces of kidney in here. So I told you I was going to tell you a story about my dog and how essentially I reversed her kidney disease. So when I was giving her regular dog food, I tried, like I said, to source top quality dog food and grain-free, and it was this brand called Ziwi, which is it's dehydrated meat, and it has some organs in there, but then it also has like maybe pea protein and some of these other things that I just sort of looked more into. And she developed kidney disease, and noticed this by she would maybe wet herself at night, and she developed incontinence. And so I was just really trying to figure it out, and the vets had told me that maybe she should go on medication, and this is normal for dogs at this age and this stage to have early onset kidney disease. And so I started thinking, I'm like, is it normal because, you know, people have been feeding their animals IMs and all of that, and food that is not an evolutionarily appropriate diet, and it's not nourishing for them. So I sort of did a lot of research and took matters into my own hands, and knowing what I know about human health and organs and how like supports like, and how organs can help support the organ that you want to heal, guess what I started adding for her? Kidney. I'm not kidding you, probably in a matter of 48 hours, things had completely changed. And I think it was because more of like the hydration that you find in meat as opposed to the freeze-dried meat. And I just think that that was really the ticket, because it completely stopped, it completely reversed. She didn't have to go on medication, and she was fine ever since. So once again, actually let me go ahead, I add 2 egg yolks here. So this is nice, really good fat, really good for their coat. I add that. And then I also add probably this is about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more of eggshells. Now I'll tell you how I got to this part. What you do is, obviously it's really great because you don't waste the eggshells. What you do is, whoever's having eggs, just keep these eggshells, okay? And so essentially, they're gonna be like so. So what you're gonna do is peel this sort of membrane, if you will, off of the eggshells. And then you just bake it in the oven. And so then it starts to bake. Maybe it's helpful too if there's any bacteria or anything like that on it. And then I just blend it. And typically I blend a lot more, so this looks more of like a powder for them. So I just didn't have enough eggs at this time. I only had a couple, but I blend it to where it looks like a powder, and you can kind of continuously like blend a ton of eggshells and then just keep scooping it in them. So that gives them a really good source of calcium. So what I'll do is I'll actually mix it. I'm gonna go ahead and mix it with my hands. Great. And fun little fact is you can actually do this with eggshells for yourself too, as a great source of calcium. This is very similar to human health. You start to just really pay attention and become aware of what your dog's needs are. And so I know with mine, when she got to a certain age, she wasn't handling the raw as well. So what I do is I lightly cook her food, and this tends to create a much better turnout when she uses the restroom outside. Uses the restroom when she poops outside. Really, I was trying to be all PC about it. Anyways, this is 350. Gonna toss it in there for just a light cook. Okay, so this is what my girl Choxie's lightly cooked food looks like right there. And I just serve it to her over the course of 2 days, and she absolutely loves it. All right, so now to prep her bowl. So as mentioned before, she is 50 pounds of all muscle, may I add. And so I'm going to add about 8 ounces of this mixture. And it looks like that, pretty well. We are going to serve her, and thank you guys so much for joining Cooking with Bae. This is the first time that I did a pet edition one, so if you're interested, please comment below and ask me or tell me if you want more. I am happy to show you what other recipes I create and how I create variety in her meal. So subscribe, hit the notification bell, and that way you can get notified the next time a pet episode drops if there's demand. So thanks again so much for joining me. See you next time.